Okay, we're back on. Just listen to Dan describe the best football teams to female beauty ratio. He was saying the Brazilians and the Dutch. Kind of tend to agree, but anyway,
I'll keep it a bit PG because we were talking about like literally 20 seconds ago. But the Brazilian fans, Jesus Christ, some of the most beautiful women in the world. The way that the yellow and the green just accentuates the sheer beauty of these Amazonian just women. It's insane. And then you've got the Dutch as well. The Dutch have always got a beautiful set of fans that they travel like the world to the World Cup, because when that camera on ITV or BBC Sport or whatever it is pans to them, it's just like Christ Almighty. You've got these beautiful Brazilians and you've got these beautiful blondes from like some of the Scandi countries, everything. Oh mate, I love the World Cup. I love it. So it's a lot better than the Premier League. The Premier League just 6 fat dudes with a couple of pints. It's ridiculous.
Anyway,
we're back. We're back. Yeah. We're back.
Yeah, baby, bear market. Let's go.
So we're gonna do a little bit of a different take because it's been a bit flat this week, and there's still a lot of stuff to come out in the wash, which still hasn't played out properly. So, interesting point that got brought up. The theme effectively is going to be what we wish we knew when we first started, and that can be from getting involved, investing, crypto space, like anything that falls under that umbrella. And we've got a few points, and we've also put a few questions out on Twitter as well, so we'll bring them up. But is there any like real immediate ones from either of you that like stand out and they just come up every cycle and you try to stick to them and then you forget about it because you get carried away? Or is there some rules that you try and implement that you need to learn from the last cycle, and then you still fuck them up because you get carried away? But everyone must have their own internal set of rules. It just comes down to like what Cantor and Clark was saying on that recent interview we did, is it's just discipline and how you stick to those. But there are a few points that I've made. I just want to know if there's any like immediate that jump out from you both.
My biggest one, because as you guys probably can tell, I'm quite an emotionally driven person, and when you're in the Telegram chats, spamming it with like /1 milli, next stop 3 milli, let's go shitty for a billy. When you're doing that in Telegram and you're spamming the shit, you're like, yeah, come on. You've got the chart on the side, it's like going up. You flick back onto Telegram, you start spamming, then it's dumping, like, oh shit. So like one of my golden rules is that I don't really follow very well, but I give it as great advice, as good advice, is when you feel euphoric in Telegram because you're spamming and you're having a good time, you're banging the drums and everything, that's when you exit Telegram and you part ways with your bag. Some people call it cheating, other people call it taking profits. So depending on which camp you're in, you decide.
And that was those Telegram groups you're referring to, the family chat. It's not even a project Telegram.
I mean, I would say that that's probably the number one mistake that people make and I do it, I think everyone does it, is that you get caught up in the euphoria. What's that saying? When you're feeling euphoric, you need to be selling, and when you're feeling freaking like Goblin Town is right there on your doorstep, that's when you need to be buying. It's not the other way around. So
is that Warren Buffett who said that?
I think Warren Buffett probably was. He said that, and it's I mean,
when your portfolio's up, sell.
And that's probably the biggest. I mean, the case in point is, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm about to tell the story without experiencing the pain that's equivalent of sticking a rusty spoon in my kneecap. But remember ice? You remember Popsicle fucking Finance? When it was at $60. It was at $60 and we were sitting in Discord. It's going to go to $300, guys. No, it's not going to go to $300, bro. Sell it now. Don't be telling people it's going to $300. That was my biggest mistake from this cycle. I mean, if I had sold at those levels, I would have made some serious money, like serious money. So, and then the other thing is my first cycle, which was 2017, 2018. I never had the understanding of what community meant, and like a real community and a real foundation with which to test the bias and all that kind of stuff. And then I obviously discovered it this cycle. And then what I didn't do right in this last cycle was to take a select member of those individuals within that community and to almost set up even more so of a collaboration, whether it was through joint investment, whether it was through joint research. But I know what I need to do for the next cycle.
Yeah, me and Mike always had this thing where, particularly in the early like DeFi summer days, and it's a little bit different, but we always had this thing. Once we found like this really great yield generating protocol or this really nice yield farm or anything that was really interest bearing or could be compounded to like a nice tasty APY, as soon as we started bringing the calculator out, that was like time to sell, because we effectively thought in the early days that like that was, if this lasts for another 30 days, we're going to be like on X amount. And as soon as you start doing that, you know that other people are doing that. And then as soon as shit starts going south, it's like, right, well, everyone else is in the same fear boat here, and it ends up like eventually just converging to zero, as it all did. So that was that one. And every time you see your portfolio hit all-time high was just like you kind of want to shout from the rooftops that you're at all-time high, and that's usually a good time to sell as well. So those are two basics.
The trap, right? That's the trap. The all-time high portfolio, on DBank, whatever you're using, and you're like sitting there fapping away, but actually what you're doing is you're effectively about to say goodbye to that money because you didn't sell.
Yeah. And like one of the there's one good thing, like in our really early days of podcasting grind, there's one comment that you said that's always stuck to me. You've got two types of all-time high. You've got the one that's essentially like all of like these like magical internet beam tokens just going up. But then you've got like your actual liquid all-time high. So like the all-time high you've got in like, let's say like USDC or real life money. I think they call it fiat. So that gave me like a whole new perspective on how to look at an all-time high in a portfolio, which is quite interesting. So now I judge it by like obviously when the token go up, but also like, okay, so has my standings in like stable coins or real life money gone up? Is that higher than what it was, let's say, I don't know, a few weeks ago or months ago? If yes, and it's breaking those levels, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. So this is actually working, actually making money out of this, trading thing, and this whole crypto thing. So that was like probably like some of the best advice you gave me ages ago.
Yeah, like unrealized. You should be looking at, and it's easy to say now in hindsight, but you should be always looking at, if you denominate in USDC or US or an ETH or Bitcoin or however you want to denominate. If you're at AVAX Maxi, it might be an AVAX. It's like you should be looking at that base currency and saying, is that going up, or are your unrealized gains going up? Because a lot of the times when you, particularly like if you really do hit a home run and you've found like some really like maybe it's a good project, maybe it's a shit project, but it's went up overnight effectively. But depending on how much of that token you actually own, it's like you're never going to be able to get out of that full position alive anyway, because usually when you get those exponential moves and you get like the really, really big moves over a course of a couple of days, it's like the liquidity is certainly not there. The liquidity isn't there because the liquidity isn't there, and that's what's allowed it to rise so quickly. But again, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So if you went to wipe that liquidity out and take the position off, it's not going to be there as well. So you're never going to realize those gains. So yeah, it's a funny one, but yeah, it's a really good point. I've got a few that I've noted down, and they might I posted them on Twitter. They might come across as a bit like cynical, but they've all got like a silver lining in them effectively. So this one sounds particularly harsh, but I just said 99% is a scam, but 1% is generational wealth opportunities. But I also think they're good odds. And by that I mean, like, if you really looked at it, like the data was like 97% of Uniswap tokens listed like effectively a rug or a scam. But I don't necessarily mean that specific. I mean, like flowery marketing, no end goal, dragging out products, pushing like useless updates. A lot of projects will be there to kind of keep the lights on for people who are running them, and you need to be very aware of those projects. They don't necessarily give a shit what is happening as long as their equity or their token equity is going to be around for long enough that they can live a successful life over the next medium term, and they'll probably move on to the next grift. The others that are really like the diamonds in the rough is like your Uniswaps, your Aves, your GMXs of the world, and things like that have true product market fit and are actually useful towards the industry. And it's another point I'll make in this, but these are the kind of times that those kind of projects are born, and those projects are spun up, or the research is getting done, and you can kind of get an early indication of when or where these projects will launch. So the other point on that list was the opportunity cost of not sticking around during these ridiculous times. Like, pat yourself on the back if you're still here, because no one in the right mind would be. So that kind of says a lot about us. It was kind of doubling down in these times, but just the opportunity cost, like, remember the reason you came, because these are the times where you can actually define an edge. If everyone else is shouting about a specific project or a specific protocol during the bear market, guarantee it's overtraded. We've said by the time it gets onto Twitter, it's an overtraded play a few times on the show. But these are the times where, yes, it is PvP, but you've also got the masses still to come back, and then you've already got such a great understanding of what the landscape is with regards to project narrative, sentiment, and all that kind of stuff. It's then when the masses do come back, when you get that large liquidity inflow, you're probably going to get decent returns on your investment, not financial advice or anything. But then you've positioned yourself so well when no one else was looking. That's when they start calling you lucky. But they should have stuck around, because this is when you can, as I say, start finding the diamonds in the rough.
Nah, I definitely agree. Oh, Jedi, you're on mute, mate.
Go ahead, Dan.
It's saying, like, it's what, like, I am so unfortunately bullish, like, right now, because I think I said on the last couple of streams, like, you're getting rid of the scum right now. You know, the scum, the goblins, you know, the evil, you know, whatever, like, metaphor you want to use. I'm not great at metaphors, but, you know, they're all going. Yeah, some of the good guys are going to go, obviously, and a lot of, like, some of the decent projects that, you know, don't have communities are going to go. But what it's leaving is, like, now it's leaving that foundation, and it's that foundation that we are going to create, because we are the last 6.5 people, like, left in the space, because, you know, we're the idiots that, you know McDonald's wouldn't take, because we're just not burger flippers. But we are going to be, and there's a small crew of us all on, like, Twitter as well, but we will be the ones that almost, you know, I don't want to say we're going to kickstart the bull run, because that's a bit ambitious. But we are the ones that are going to be building on top of a foundation, or even, like, creating a new foundation. And we are that honest voice that's going to be carried through into the next, like, bear market rally, and hopefully bull run, if that ever happens again.
It will happen again. And I think that's one of the things that needs to go in that list, is that we get caught up in what's happening today and what happened yesterday and what could happen tomorrow, as opposed to being aware of the long term. You know, a lot of people talk about zooming out, and I think that the zooming out thing is very important in terms of this topic of discussion, is that we fail to do that enough, and to have perspective around, you know, what is actually going on. Like, are we going to see another bull run again? Absolutely, we're going to see another bull run. It's the question now is, what are the factors that will determine that, and what are the factors that are preventing that from happening? And that is really important, because then it's going to happen. So then go about your business of making sure of positioning yourself in the strongest possible position that you can be, in order to maximize that opportunity of your first bull run. You'll never make it unless you get really lucky. And then even if you do, you're probably going to land up blowing it anyways, to the extent that you're going to have to come back. And very few people make it on the second cycle. And the ones that do make it on the second cycle really learn some valuable lessons in that first cycle, because you need to learn them. You need to learn that, and there's a whole lot of points. I think one of the points that were brought on this thread that you put out there, Grant, is like, take profits on the way up. Take your initial money out. Don't keep it in there because you think, I bet 10 grand. If I keep that 10 grand plus the 10 grand that I made, I'm actually betting with 20 and I could make more. No, bro. Don't think like that. That's actually why people get wrecked. That's why they don't make the money, is that they don't take that initial money out and then let the rest ride whilst taking profits on the way up. So what if you only land up with 5 grand in the end, at the end of the whole 100x that you riding as a moonbag? So what? You've made yourself a whole lot of money. You've got yourself a moonbag there just for posterity. It's never going to land up making you rich. But if you have 10 out of the 100 players that you make that are successful to that extent, that's how you make money. Not because you had one lucky one. The one lucky one will come, but you've got to do 20 right before you get the one very big one. That's what people don't realize. They realize that it's got to be like a case of a lotto. And it's not about a lotto. The lotto will come, but it can only come if you do 10 or 20 right on the way there. It's very few guys who landed up minting a fucking bored ape and then sat on it for a year and landed up getting 650 grand out of that thing. I don't think there's many of those around, out of the 10,000 that were minted.
Yeah, the same thing is, though, if they had the same mindset to hold on to that to 650k, that's the kind of same mindset that also holds on to it back to the 50k
0
or whatever it is now.
Yeah, 70k.
So it's like that one of your points are the just one more 2x is one of those indicators. Like, it's one of those get the calculator out indicators for me as well, or it's all-time high time. Just one more 2x. Because you've got to think further afield. It's like, roughly, if people are getting in at a similar sort of price point to you and have similar sort of like rough targets and things like that, if everyone else is thinking that just one more 2x and one kind of large sell comes in, people go into fear mode. And the idea of losing is more powerful than the idea of winning something. And then that one more 2x is probably never going to come. We've also mapped out a million times.
So what was probably another one of these really valuable lessons around this thing is exactly around the next 2x. I'm going to make another 2x. So Messi, Crypto Messiah, spoke about this in his interview that we did. Remember, one of our first interviews that we ever did was with Messi. And he also spoke about this principle in the hero streams that they were doing before that with Shitcoin Church, where he spoke about, it was towards the end of the bull cycle. I think it was October. It was October, end of September time. He was wrapping up. He was busy selling out. I mean, he had done really well and essentially made it after freaking 8 years. And he was saying, I don't understand how people are sitting here. They've made 50x on their money, but they haven't sold yet because they think they're going to make another 2x. Where is the rationale in that? Where is the rationale around seeking out another 2x when you've already made a 50x? Bro, sell. Get out. You've made your money. You're not going to land up making that much more on the extra 2x. That's when you get wrecked. Because like you say, people sell, fear kicks in, and then it's game over. And you're sitting with a 3x as opposed to the 50x in less than a day.
Yeah, and then you hurt yourself all the way down as well because you're looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I should have just taken it, shouldn't have just taken it. And the reason you're acting and being so hard on yourself is because you've showed one of like the sins of the human psyche effectively, and you just got too greedy for your own good. Because that's all it comes down to at that point. What else have we got on here? Where's Dan going? Is he?
I don't
So we're
know.
going to watch some Brazilian fan highlights or something.
Who knows what's going on there, huh?
Anyway, I've got I suppose this leads into what we were just saying about sticking around, but because we've been so, like, particularly Blockmate's probably been around about 2 years, but the past year it's fully been ramped up with the both of us just doing stupid hours every single day and trying to make it work. But this is something I've only recently realized within the past year, is that building in the space or creating something in the space is way more fun than investing. And at least if you're going to invest in yourself or invest in building something, at least if you lose your money, at least it's you who's lost it and not SBF or some protocol or RV fucking pulling off highly profitable trading strategies with your capital and stuff like that. So I do think, and I know we've spoken about it previously, but just building something or creating something in and of itself that you have a whole lot of influence on what the outcome is a hell of a lot more interesting than purely investing, in my opinion.
Well, it's because it's, you know what it is. You want me to tell you what I think it is that you're forced to apply the principles that you normally would be forced to apply in an investment context. Is that you have a plan, right? And good investment strategy requires that you need to have a plan, but we don't do that because we let our emotions get the better of us. We do stupid things. And it's not like there's this plan. Whereas when you're building something, you're almost forced to stick to a plan because it's just the nature of how business works and how building something works. Whereas when you're investing, we don't look at it in that way. We end up getting caught up in a whole lot of other stuff. That's why 90% or 95% of people who invest or attempt to invest lose money, and only the other 5% make money, is because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, the guys who are making the money are the guys who are planning, and they're planning their strategy. Whether it's a winning one or whether it's a losing one, there's a plan and there's an exit. And that's what we don't do enough of in the context of this topic of discussion of what would you have done differently if you had known certain things about investing. And I think the planning is probably, maybe it's even the most important thing. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I investing in Aave at $50? Well, I believe that Aave has significant application and relevance in the space beyond just, a speculative thing on a chart. It's got functionality. It serves a purpose. It has a long-term play. Uniswap, same thing. Cool. I'm going to make an investment based on that. I'm going to do the long-term hold. It's probably at its lows now, and not financial advice, but if you think about it from a planning perspective, this might really be a good buy.
Yeah, I posted something about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago in Discord, like stating like a lessons investment framework type thing, and it was the plan is more important than the actual position itself, and that was kind of a recent lesson from the XMON trade. So I kind of picked up on that quite early because I used pseudo swap early and thought, shit, this is like something I hadn't seen before. 2, it's like a 0 to 1 type improvement on whatever's came before it. So how do you get exposure? You get XMON. No, that wasn't very obvious to everyone. So you've done the hard work, you've done the research, you've made a thesis, you got in early, and you wrote it up. And then everyone knew that the XMON token was speculated to have some kind of claim on the pseudo tokens when it's like they do this lock drop thing where you lock XMON and you get X amount of pseudo back. If you've used the protocol for being an LP between an NFT pair and ETH, then you get some. And then there's a couple of other things if you bought or sold on there as well. So that all played out well, kind of speculated that was going to happen. And then what happens is the announcement happens that XMON will be transferable for pseudo. Chat goes stupid. Like, the positions already went from like 7 or 8K, and we're at like 50K per X month now. So job should be done. And if the plan was in place, it was like, right, speculatively, we're all waiting for the same announcement here. So you sell on that announcement. But
Yes.
daft ass over here got too intertwined with it, got too tied up in their own bullshit effectively, and now we're effectively sat back at 12K. So again, the plan is more important than the actual position in and of itself, because if I did sell on the announcement, like, I should have put the plan in place and did that properly, and then look to buy a position now. Obviously, that would have been a great trade to do that, but you're probably going to have 4x the size of the position at this point in time. So again, the plan around is more important than position, in my opinion.
So, but that's also around being very clear whether the plan falls in line with what is actually going on, right? Obviously, you need to be able to adjust your plan, and as quickly as you need to sell, you also need to know at what point you need to buy, obviously. But the thing is that you need to be flexible with that plan, but you can't be flexible based on this emotional thing. There needs to be certain criteria within the market that influences the change of plan, and it needs to be very much justifiable around that. Can't be an emotional thing. As soon as it becomes an emotional thing, you've lost. You might as well just give your money to your next door neighbor. You know, like, just go and give it to them, because they're going to do a better job than you are if you're getting emotional about it.
And you're the one who needs to make the decision on that as well. That decision can't be influenced from what you see online around that position.
Yes.
Because you've always got people who are acting in their own best interest. So if you kind of got a thesis and you've got a plan around it, even if it's like a swing trade or like a 6 to 8 week trade or however long you think it's going to play out, it doesn't matter about the time frame, just to have the plan that's ingrained within that. And if something comes along in the middle of that and then you're changing your opinion because someone else has said it on Twitter with no kind of reference to back it up, it's like, are you truly investing on your own thesis? Or are you kind of at the whims of kind of mass hive mind that's on Twitter effectively? And if you are, and we all are to a degree, and we can't say that we aren't, because if we did, then we'd think we're some kind of superhuman. But if you are investing purely off kind of what you're seeing online, and not being able to generate your own ideas and own thesis, one, you're not trying stuff out enough, and two, you're going to get your ass handed to you because you're never going to know when to sell.
It's also the discipline of the plan as well. So, like, you could have the best plan in the world, but if you don't have the discipline to execute it without emotion, then that plan becomes, null and void. And it's that thing that you was chatting with Cantor and Clark about, and it's one of those big sayings that they say, even from like a fitness background, discipline equals freedom. If you can be disciplined in what you're doing, you can essentially achieve a state of feeling and being free, because you are acting on a decision in a very this, or you're basically acting it on on a 1 and 0, like, okay, get to here and we'll do this, right? So I think that's where I definitely, when I start trading again, like, have the plan, but more importantly, execute it just completely without emotion.
It only takes a couple of run throughs of executing your plan correctly to get into the rhythm of doing that and turn it into a habit. It's just like anything. If you're really sloppy with your buys and sells, or even sloppy on chasing positions once they've pumped, you knew you had it on your watch list. It's already pumped. Let's go and chase it. I knew this was going to play out this way, but you didn't, because you didn't put your money where your mouth was effectively. But it is that execution around it all, and all you need to do is, even if it's smaller positions, in my opinion, and obviously anything we say, don't take this as financial advice or investment advice or any advice, because we're all fucking idiots effectively. But try it out on a smaller scale. Just be completely ruthless. It's going to be easier because the liquidity will be there on a smaller scale anyway. And just try and stick to a plan for like 5, 10, 15 trades. And then you'll kind of get in the habit. It's just the same as anything. If you're going to be sloppy consistently, then I don't know how you'd expect to pull off like a strategic plan when you're trading and go for like a big home run. So it's just like little kind of tactics like that to be consistent with strategy execution and stuff like that helps.
You know what's also like a really cool thing to do that I found just from a confidence building perspective is to actually go and do some research around something that you like, something that catches your interest. You know, there's and crypto Twitter is a really good thing for this kind of thing. Even if it is on Twitter, it doesn't matter. Even if you catch something on Twitter and you go and you see it and it's at a market cap of 800K and you go and do the research in that project and you like what the project has got to offer and you think that there's relevance, then put a bet out, you know, like just get involved, like check it out. Don't try and rely on somebody else's input around this whole thing. Do it on your own accord. Find reasons why you need to be interested in this thing and then find reasons why you think there's something wrong with this thing. Weigh the options and then place a bet. You know, make a plan. Place a bet. I'm buying this thing at 10 cents. And as soon as I've done a 5x on it, I'm going to sell irrespective of what's going on. And I'll leave it. I'll take my initial out along the way, whether it's when it 2x's. So my general rule is if I 2x or 3x, depending on how fast the thing moves, I'll take out my initial. And then once it 2x's or 3x's again, I'll take out that second initial because then I treat it as an initial again. And then I'll keep a moon bag at, say, 10, 20% after, say, a 10x. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never really, I know it's a lot of people do it, but I never really keep a moon bag. I don't know why.
That's cool.
I don't even, particularly when we're in a trending market and everything's like just at the whims of how much liquidity comes in and the inflows into a new chain or an early project and things like that. Everyone usually says, oh, if they're in like a similar sort of position, have you got a target? And I'm just like, no, I'll just see when it fatigues. And I might re-enter. I'll just see when it fatigues. I wish I had those problems now, but obviously there's no such thing as a trending market at this point in time. I think that's it. That's an important one. I spoke with Easy on a recording the other day, and we were saying like, it's not figuring out your strengths early. Like if you're a great range trader, like the likes of trader SC, SZ, however you want to call it, trader XO, and those like trader main and people like that who Cantor Clark, fantastic range traders. You know, they can have intraday swings and play that like an absolute boss. But like Main's even said like on stream before that when a trending market comes, he probably doesn't do as well as everyone else, but in like a choppy sideways market, which has like it's completely range bound, he guarantees he's probably out trading the vast majority because that's his skill set. So it's like figuring out your skill set early and not being so like not letting your ego think that you can trade both sides of. A lot of people can, but they're very experienced and very, very well adept for trading range markets and trending markets. I'm terrible at ranging markets. I've learned that twice over. But it's just not letting your ego get in the place and get in the way and say, oh, well, you can trade a trending market. A lot of people can. It's a habit of opening CoinGecko and throwing a dart at the screen and seeing what sticks, and you're probably going to get decent returns in a trending market.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to work it out. Where you could probably specialize it a little bit more is picking the fastest horses and picking narratives early, so you get more returns for your book. But trying to convince yourself that you're good in both markets, there's very few that can do it. And it's, as I say, understanding what you're not good at as much as understanding what you are good at, I think.
Well, I'm starting to learn now that the trading side of it for me is not necessarily where I want to focus my interest. My interest is more around building the tools, you know, like that. It's kind of like, you know, the guys who sold the mining equipment were the guys who actually made the money, and effectively that's what we're doing with Blockmates. You know, we're selling the tools, you know, and that's what I would prefer to be doing at the moment and put my energy into. I mean, do I have the desire to open a long and let a long run for a 6-month period where I'm continuously adding to it in an upwardly trending market? I actually couldn't think of anything better than that, actually, from a trading perspective. You know, like that would be just glorious. And I know that that opportunity is going to come, and I know that that opportunity is going to create a serious amount of money. But that's more around the desire to do that and say, listen, I've done it, as opposed to I'm going to make a shitload of money, even though that's, but you know what I mean? It's like, opening an ETH long at $850 and then selling it at $5,000, like, 7 months later. Imagine that, bro. $1 million position or whatever the case is. I mean, that's like the kind of thing that you dream about. And I mean, even there's guys probably laughing at me saying, $1 million, is that all, bro? Like, surely it should be more.
Just increase the leverage, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but once you open the position, you can't change the leverage, remember?
Could you imagine cheating that bag, like absolutely dumping the shit out of that? Dumping a 7-figure bag, like in such an anonymous kind of way, like in the microcap. Yeah. People would hate you. You'd be like scum. But when you do it,
so we're now determining what your dream is. Your dream is to dump on a whole lot of people.
Part ways with a bag, aka it's not a bad. But it's that mindset as well. Like you can cheat like $1 million bag on on an exchange against people you don't know. But as soon as you start cheating on like a microcap, everybody loses their brains. Yeah. But
because I'm not even going to go into that. But
that's another topic for another day. But I
was going to ask, what other points have come up in that thread that you posted?
I'll bring it up. Blue Jay article just out as well. Quick plug.
Ooh, funny, huh?
Cool. That's a cool project.
So I think we've covered all ours. Oh yeah, we've basically covered. Yeah. So Naveen said, importance, understanding of tokenomics, investing schedules, never take anyone's word or proclaim by their face value or Twitter following. When facts change, I change my mind immediately. Aping is fine, but try and understand the source of real yield. Yeah, they're all. I think tokenomics, we said it a million times, and that dilution sheet that we created. If anyone knows how to fix that CoinMarketCap API, I'll leave it in the description. But please let me know, because it's supposed to be fetching the current price, and it's not at the minute. So, and I'm an idiot, so I don't know how to do that. But yeah, tokenomics investing schedules. I think maybe like when we go through this site rebuild, we should probably have a project profile builder on there that we can populate a few, but encourage people to create their own project profiles on. And at the same time, we should probably encourage them also to post their vesting schedules and unlock schedules. And if they don't, we'll shame them publicly into doing it. Yeah, because that's something that's totally underappreciated, and they can't try and if they're not forthcoming with that information, it's like it's not good luck. You know what I mean?
So, Grant, can you please explain to me what exactly is vesting?
Right.
What is the definition? Can you explain it to me like I'm 3? Yeah.
So, if you're an early investor in a project like seed, pre-seed, Series A, you'll be given a token price. So let's say, right, Solana, for example, it was 0.04 cents at investor round. So, and then like Series A or seed might be 0.2 cents. So the earlier you are in the round, the lower the price of your token and the larger token equity or project equity that you get. But projects aren't just going to immediately give you 100% of all your tokens on day one, because that'd be stupid. 1, liquidity is not there to be able to do it. 2, if you get rubbish people on your cap table or rubbish investors, that immediately you'll proceed to dump on that, your project's going to be destroyed in the first day. So it happens in the traditional world as well, or it happens in like private equity as well. But or it even happens in when you get acquired by a specific company. They'll say, yeah, we're going to buy your company, we're going to pay you 20 million, and then we're also going to pay you another 20 million in vested stock options. So it's an incentive for them to kind of stay on and add value to the project. But with regards to crypto, it tends to be a little bit more cut and dry than that. So these tokens will slowly vest. So let's say you have a linear vest. You might get tokens every day, like vested over a specific time period. So let's say you have a 2-year vest, a linear 2-year vest would effectively be you get tokens every single day, proportional to your equity in the tokens, and they'll get just effectively sent to your wallet. So then you can proceed to 1, sell them, 2, stake them, 3, add them to an LP or whatever have you. So it's a way to drip feed tokens back to early private investors, and there's a couple of ways to do it. So linear vesting is the best, in my opinion, and there's data to back this up from Token Unlock. They're a good Twitter account to follow. Or you'll get a cliff, so you might get at month 3 there might be like 10% of your tokens unlocked immediately, and then the rest might be a linear vest. So then you slowly get the remaining 90% every single day. So Token Unlock did a study on this, and a linear vest every single day outperformed cliff unlocks. So you've got to imagine a lot of people just like to get their return on investment immediately, but if you're getting 10% of your initial tokens and they're up like 10, 20, 30x, liquidity is still low, and there's a couple of people doing the same thing, and it's never going to look the best on the chart, and it can land you in hot water quite quickly. But so like a linear vesting schedule was always best. You can structure it in a way where later round investors get more favorable like cliffs. So you'd ideally want those with larger token equity to have the linear vest, but you might incentivize people to get them over the cap table at later rounds to give them better vesting terms. So you might give them like a 10% vest, whereas the earlier investors are still on linear. So that's how it tends to work. There are a few different ways that goes on. Some people will be a bit more dodgy about it, and they'll say, well, if you've got a linear vest for like 3 years or whatever, even though your tokens aren't typically on the market, we can still put them in an LP, or we'll still stake them for you. So you're still earning rewards, which I think Lux did that. Lux Rare, and that's how the founders' tokens that weren't on the market were allowed to be staked, and they earned like fucking 30 million in the first 2 months, and effectively just took the funds and did what they did with them. So people really need to understand that. And I think, as I say, with this website build, we definitely should have like an open form that people can actually fill in on there with their specific project vesting schedules, unlocks, and anything along those lines, because it's something that's drastically underserved. And if you've got a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, hopefully not 100% inflation or staking rewards that's coming from inflation, and you're bag holding thinking you're going to get back to all-time high, there's going to need to be some serious demand that comes onto the market, particularly if it takes a couple of years. So yeah, just be very aware of that. So that's that in a nutshell. That makes sense.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir, for that very detailed and concise breakdown of what it is and what it involves. Yeah, cliffs are also quite risky, and I'm not surprised that the linear outperforms. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, actually, because that's a huge opportunity for dumping, isn't it? From a cliff, even if it is only 10% or 20%. People want to get their initial out and want to buy themselves a fancy boat or a villa on the coast somewhere. It's a good opportunity to just dump.
Yeah, and then you've also got to think that probably comes down to a very PvP style environment at that point in time. If you know other people on the cap table have got a habit of just doing that, and there'd be obviously you can check the chain to back all that idea up. But if you know they're going to dump us immediately, you're going to want to get your best price for your initial cliff to unlock, aren't you? And if you know fund X across the table from you are also going to dump their position, it's effectively a race to get the gains realized effectively, isn't it? So maybe we do something along those lines as well. As I think there's a notion out there somewhere that someone's built that had reputable VCs and funds that invested and hold for the long term and stuff like that. So and then also some more kind of serial dumper on the list as well. So yeah, that's a good point by Naveen. Is there anything else on that before we move on to a couple more points?
Just checking now. I think just coming back to, and obviously shameless plug around community and the importance of community in this whole thing is that community is about having ideas and putting them out there, and those ideas being tested, and then for other people to do the same with you, and then also, finding those gems. It just works so much better when you're in a group where people are out there actively looking for that alpha and are, there's only so many podcasts you can listen to. There's only so many articles you can read. There's only so many white papers that you can process. And if you've got 20 people, 30 people who are all working around the clock on different time zones doing the same thing, you're effectively becoming a freaking lethal machine in this whole thing. And that is probably one of the most important things to have. And you need like real players that are doing this. It's not just random 20 dudes that like these people need to have a great work ethic. They need to be in line or aligned with what it is that you are expecting out of this whole thing. And if you can find that, then you hold on to it really tight, because I can guarantee you that is going to be probably one of your main reasons why you're going to make it in this space, is because you had that core group. I don't think there's many people out there that have done it on their own, to be honest. I think the majority of people, you can't.
Impossible. No. This is a good point. All these experts don't know more than you. Most of them are just showing also. If 2022 was a lesson, that would be this.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
No one has a fucking clue what they're doing.
It's all just LARP, and that's it now. It's just LARP. No experts.
The thing is, you know what it is? It's like 100%, it's unnavigated waters, it's complete experimentation. Find the people who have clear perspective around the fact that it is experimentation and it is uncharted waters. Find those people. Find the people who are honest about the fact that is what's going on. That's a really good starting point. If you're looking for like, where do I start? Go and find the people who are very clear about the fact that this is all very much an experiment. I'm trying to figure it out, but this is what makes sense, and this is why it makes sense to me. If you can find those people who rationalize things in that way, then you're onto a really good thing. Do not go and subscribe to people that are telling you that they are going to bring you 100x's.
Bro, I was literally about to say that. That's going to be my next point about like, it's very hard for you in this bear market to bring you the next 100. Dude, I just want a 2x. Fuck off with your 100x, man. Like, but
I'll take 10%.
Mate, you have to take 10% right now as well. Jesus. And it's like when you get these larpers, 1 second, like when you get these larpers that are like, I bought Solana back at 69 cents back in 2004. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I bought ADA. No, look, you probably did buy ADA. Yeah, you probably did. Only down since then. I bought, dude, shut up. If there's an account that's doing that's being serious, like literally just click on follow. If it's any of us three doing it, then you know we're LARPing on, because we definitely didn't bring you anything like that. We definitely didn't bring you 1,000x gain. And we're definitely not spending all this time researching some shitty coins to bring you 100x. We're definitely not doing that. Oh, rant over.
What we're doing is that we are hopefully able to, not only for ourselves, but also for the community, is to be able to provide the tools with which we can jointly go out there and make sense of what's going on. That's what we're doing here. We might land up getting lucky along the way and saying, listen, we believe that X project's relevant and is going to do X, Y, and Z, but we're not guaranteeing anything. You know what I mean? And in terms of 100Xs for the next bull market, I think that's actually quite an easy thing to do right now. I think it's really not that difficult to go and get a list of 50 coins and maybe 10 of them make 100x, and then I can tell you how wonderful I was that I got you 100x. Anyone can do that, guys. It's really easy to do that right now. We're pretty much at bottom right now. Yes, I said it. I think we're close to bottom. And bottom isn't more than 30-40% away from here. Why? Because, fuck, dude, I don't see Bitcoin going below 10 grand. You know what I mean? It's like that's your 40%, 50% right there. So I don't think it's that hard to make calls on 100Xs now. There's a whole lot of them in DeFi that are freaking at rock fucking bottom. You know, like stuff that's working, that's happening. I mean, I'm just, something that's come to mind is Krabata. Like Krabata is like a really cool game. I mean, that thing is probably at rock bottom right now. There's 100X waiting right there, I bet. I reckon that's a very good chance that could work. There's so many of them, bro. There's so many of them. Look at DPX. DPX is, there's no ways DPX is going to be a has-been coin. That thing's got relevance. It's going to land up doing stuff for the next bull market. You know, there's so many of those things that are out there. All we're doing is that we're just saying, be discerning, be logical, find the right people to follow. People who are telling you that they're going to give you 100x is a fucking larps. If you don't see that, then you are going to get wrecked by those very people, because they're going to buy those bags now, and then when they have 100x, they're going to dump on you when you're buying for your 100x. That's what they're going to do. If you don't believe me, wait. We will have this conversation in 3 years' time.
I don't even believe that they a lot of people, as you say, with a complete LARPing on. Like we're the first to admit we're fucking retards and idiots. So we we're not gonna go out and promise people that they listen to this, they're gonna have extreme success. It's just we're commentating on what we do, all the mistakes we make. Sometimes we get lucky, and that's half the battle. What it is, it is luck. But so yeah, you won't see any of that from here. We'll have a couple of victory laps when we actually get back to a nice trending market. But yeah, be very wary of those people.
Everyone's a genius in the bull market. Go and find the guys who are actually trading properly right now and are making money, because there's very few of them. And if you think all the people that you're following on Twitter are doing that, guess what? You're being lied to.
They're all just having arguments over oysters.
Yeah, no names mentioned. Jesus Christ.
Never invest what you can't risk. No trade ever goes as expected. Trade signal groups, 99% scam. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Trade signal groups are 99% a scam. And if you do find guys that are actually trading and are making good calls, then you're lucky. Then you've hit it lucky. But 99% of those things are really not the real deal.
Yeah. Is there any more from that list?
Just looking through.
Okay, here's two things for like my microcap traders out there. Ryoshi isn't making coins, and if he did, he's not putting them in the microcap space. Chances are, if there's a layer 1 that's launched in the microcap space, it's not actually a layer 1, because a layer 1 takes a number of devs more than just, big hot saucy mama 69 and, big hot papa saucy 69. It takes more than that. It takes, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars in order to get all of the infrastructure and set up, and it takes a lot of time. So, one, Ryoshi ain't making coins. Like, mate, Ryoshi's gone. And 2, if they're making a layer 1, it's BS. I'm sorry to say it's BS.
What's BS?
Making a layer 1 in the microcap space.
Yeah. So then, isn't Bearer Chain a layer 1 in the microcap space?
No, it's a fake chain, mate. I don't know if you've heard the news. It's not real.
Okay, thanks for confirming that.
Yeah, there have been like unconfirmed reports of its fakery.
It's amazing. I think I've spoken more about Bearer Chain than anything else over the last 3 months, and I have absolutely no insight. I know no one. It's like I've probably done more to promote Bearer Chain, and I actually have zero idea. I'm clueless to it, and I mean that. I mean, brutally honest. I'm so on the inside on this thing, but I'm so on the outside at the same time. I think that's going to go down in history as probably the only guy to ever be in that position in the crypto space, like for real.
The only thing I've wanted to buy is one of those like freaking bears, and like the one thing that hasn't dipped throughout this whole capitulation is there. And like
I know, what they had like 5,000 ETH each. On they like 5,000 ETH each.
Like the amount being traded on the open market is like there's like 6 of them, and that's it. Like there is, it's like. Do these guys know that it's fake or what? Like, these guys are idiots holding on to their bears. I'm joking. I think it's going to be good. Like, yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm completely on the arts. It sucks.
It might potentially be the first way to create a fully decentralized stablecoin that's backed by chain liquidity. That'll be interesting to see if that plays out.
See, like all these tidbits. I mean, alpha just comes pouring in around Bearer Chain. Can I please meet the fucking CEO of that thing, bro? Can we get him on? Smokey the Bear. Can we get him on?
Yeah, we'll get him on.
Last one. That crypto is one big casino and the odds are not in your favor. Meme coins that shouldn't ever do anything will make you rich, while the ones we consider staples will bleed us dry. Oh, and trust absolutely no one.
So who hurt you? Someone's been hurt.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Big Hot Mama 69, because mate, in that last season, she was dumping on me hard all my days. I got conned big time right there.
Para, nothing comes without patience, and that's so true. I mean, you've got to be patient. Don't go buying into these green dildos, and just be patient. Okay, be patient. I need to be patient. I'm gonna eventually meet Smokey the Bear, and he's gonna tell me all about this fake chain, and I'm gonna get an opportunity to be a part of it. I'm gonna be patient.
But it has to be logical patience, because there's some coin that if you round trip it to 0, it ain't going up again. No matter how patient you are, it's logical patience, right? You know, if you were to like pick up a bag of Ada, that would be foolish patience.
Okay, my final one. Stop loss. Always have a stop loss in place.
Mate, can't stop Uniswap.
Part of the plan is that you have a stop loss in place.
Caroline told me not to.
If you don't have a stop loss in place, you're going to end up paying the price of going round tripping it. That round trip is probably the single worst thing ever.
Caroline doesn't use a stop loss. I trust her.
Well, now we know.
Maybe if she'd used one, they wouldn't have got fucking destroyed.
Exactly.
Well, what's mental is like, you know, I did okay in GCSE maths. You know, I feel like I should be position she is.
Oh god.
If people want to know what happened with FTX, it's very simple. They didn't have a plan. They were just freaking going all in, and they didn't have a plan. They didn't have stop losses. End of story. That's what.
Mate, sex, drugs, and 100x. Oh, that's going to be a good title for a film.
That's actually a very good title. Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Can we go and drink some beer and not look at charts? And
I'm gonna watch England finally solidify the title of football and not soccer by pumping America like 6-0.
And that's going to be quite tough for the English.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Harry Kane's
to mop up all
injured.
that blood, all the mopping up of the blood.
It's all right. It's coming home. Don't worry about that. It's coming home.
Here's to it coming home. I'm not particularly supporting anyone in the World Cup, so I'll go with it coming home. I'll be here. I'll be here when. I mean, you do know that the odds are completely against you guys for it to come home, based on just what the English generally do. They go all the way to the final, the semi-final, and then they blow it.
But you know the louder we sing,
I'll be here. I'll be here to support you guys. I'll be a shoulder to cry on.
Mate, the louder we sing, the more likely it is to come home. That's why you hear every year we get louder and louder.
If we do win, I'll probably be going missing for like a week. Just put it out there. So don't call the police or anything. I'll be all right. I'll just be wandering around drunk somewhere.
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye.
Take it easy.